Welcome to Real Estate on the Rocks, where you get top shelf real estate conversations served straight up, never watered down. Here's your host, Dave Snowberger.
Welcome back to Real Estate on the Rocks, where you can get top shelf real estate conversations, never watered down, always served straight up. I'm Dave Snowberger. I'm joined today with Marshall Tucker, hello. Alicia Hooper,
hey.
And our special guest, rookie agent, James Mendez.
How's it going?
Good. How's everybody today?
Good. Rock and rolling, man.
Good.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and dive right into it. We only have so much time. Our topic today is, I have my real estate license. Now what?
I'm going to sell some homes.
It's going to be easy.
For real.
What you got?
Deals are just going to keep flowing to me.
Yeah, it's just going to start flowing, right?
It's magic.
Yeah.
It just happens.
Yeah. Just meeting down at the closing table, picking up checks and snapping necks, right?
Just like TV.
Well, we all know and kind of found out the hard way that the reality is this business is really simple. It's just not easy.
That's right.
And when you come in a little bit green and a little bit new to any profession, there's always a curve you're behind, I would say. And getting clients is probably the biggest curve that real estate throws at you when you jump into this business. And so after you just went through taking all the classes, going through the licensing process, paying for all that stuff, now what? That's what I'm talking about. So what do we do now that we have our license? Now it's time to interview brokers, right?
Yes.
And so before we hopped online here, Alicia was talking about the importance of interviewing the broker, and she brought up a good point. Go ahead with that.
So the point is to realize that you are the interviewer. So you're in charge of the interview. Like, you're finding your broker to align with your goals. They're subtly interviewing you, but for the most part, you are in charge.
Right, because they'll take you no matter what, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah. I think that's a broker's task, not task, but just kind of their goal is to take anyone, throw you against the wall and see who sticks.
Right.
That's not to offend any brokers out there, but it's really kind of what I saw happening throughout the business when I first got into it. Yeah, it's just like the rest of the business. It's a numbers game, and even on the broker standpoint. So, Marshall, picking your broker, you first came to the brokerage you're at. What got you over to there?
Well, I could say it was the guidance, training, education, the culture, the marketing, the location, the leads, but in reality...
You sound pretty scripted.
Yeah. In reality, it was I knew a lady who was in real estate, and she had mentioned to me quite several times that I would be good at being a realtor, so she kind of guided me to go over there, and then from my backyard at my home, there's a Keller Williams, and I can see the Keller Williams sign lighting up my back window at nighttand. So
it was a sign.
It was a sign.
It was literally a sign.
Join us. You don't have to go very far. So I came and I signed up. And my first year, I had 2 deals. I had my best friend from high school, and I had my mama.
There you go.
My mama took all my negotiation powers away from me by calling the other agent and telling her how much she really wanted that house, and my son was going to call soon. So thanks, Mom.
So as far as that, when she was telling you you'd be a great realtor, do you feel lied to?
Not at all. She just didn't explain all the hurdles and the miles I was going to have to jog and all the real estate burpees.
Real estate burpees, that's a good way to put it. Nice. Okay, so let's move over to Alicia real quick. Alicia, what brought you to, I guess we'll let the secret out, we're actually all Keller Williams agents. What brought you over to Keller Williams, the Northwest Market Center here in Austin, Texas?
Yeah, so I was attending a class over at Champions, and Jenna Rush came in, and she did her presentation, and I had the same feeling with her that I had when I chose my college. It was just an overwhelming, that is where I'm meant to be. And I had my list of questions that I Googled before I came here, and it was like 4 pages, and I came in and I interviewed with Michelle, and she sealed the deal, and here I am.
Nice. The rest is history.
Yep.
Okay. All right, and then we're going to hop over to James Mendez. James, why'd you choose Keller Williams Northwest Market Center?
I chose KW for the education. I come from a military background, so we focus heavily on education, continuing education, so that was huge. Megan, one of the old EAs here, happened to call me. She was the first one to call and got me up here. And then I just got to meet the people. And so culture is a huge thing for teams and organizations. So as I was getting a tour, I had a bunch of people popping out, saying hi, saying that they'll help me with anything. And this was before I even had my license, so they had no vested interest in me and no value in me, other than just being, good people. So got to do the little tour, saw the pictures on the board saying who all the leadership council is, and met like half of them just walking around. Mm-hmm. So I knew immediately this is where I should be. And I actually have to pass the Southwest Market Center every single day to come into this office.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. Well, I'll let it be known that I switched market centers when I found out a little bit more about building a team and actually running a business. The brokerage I was with prior to this was not very pro team. They were very single agent. We'll get into the discussion about teams or single agents here in a minute. For me, it was always team because I'm interested in building a business around the real estate business. So that was my whole thing. Was I had to get over here. I heard a lot of rumors about this particular brokerage, the reasons why we shouldn't like it, everything else. I decided to go find out for myself. I sat down with some good people at Keller Williams, and they really kind of showed me that it wasn't everything that I was hearing. It wasn't bad at all. And so I immediately made the switch. I mean, within 24 hours, I had moved my license from one to another, and within a few months from there, it was just no looking back. So it was one of the best decisions I have ever made, and I'm glad that I'm here, and I'll continue to run my business out of this awesome market center.
When you say awesome. Here, though, it's important to point out about the culture is that we started in Georgetown together, and we outgrew the culture there, so then we made the switch to Austin, and we can get into that more later.
Yeah. And so that wasn't necessarily how to select a broker. It was more of our opinions of how to select a broker. Right. I would say that how to select a broker would be that is you interview them, make sure their goals are in line with your goals.
And make sure they're going to support you.
Yeah, and they're going to be there for you. A broker's main focus is not to hand you leads or do the work for you or anything else. It's really just to provide you a safe environment for you to come in, ask questions, find out, and really just have that protection of what the broker does and that broker's knowledge for them to provide that for you. Everything else is really just kind of up to you. And so I found that out 2 years into the deal when I thought the broker would be doing more for me. I realized that they're not going to do that much for you. However, the good brokers out there will have your back and support you. And that goes a long ways versus the ones that aren't very supportive, right, which seem to be all over the place.
Oh, for sure.
So, okay, single agent versus team. Okay, I've selected my brokerage, and now I'm going to move on. Single agent or team? Let's dive into that real quick.
Well, yeah, I was a single agent for the first year. Had 2 closings. Wasn't very successful. Started, wondering what it is I could do a little differently. And I guess that was about the time that you, Dave, started coming into where I was straddling my second job at. And I was like, who is this guy? He picked up my business card. He said a few things about it. And we started talking, and then, found out.
I think my exact words like, who's this dope?
I was going to say all good things, right?
See if you get any hot sauce with that chicken. Right. But, we started talking, and he started talking about how he was moving over to Keller Williams. I was telling him that I was already there, and he formed a team, and I hopped on it, and never looked back.
There you go.
Yeah, I think you actually called one time. You had a mentor, I believe, that didn't answer your phone call, and so you actually reached out to me, not really knowing each other, knowing that I'd been in your family's restaurant a few times, and hey, can you help me with that? And it actually was a question I actually knew. And so I looked great. It's like I actually knew this guy's question, and from there we kind of formed a relationship, and now we're about 3 years strong on the team. So the team way's been definitely the thing for us. I know, Alicia, you're a single agent right now. I know that you've thought about joining teams in the past, but something's kept you out of that. Speak to that.
Well, I started as a single agent like Marshall, and I joined a team for about 5 months, and I just realized, based on my experience and my goals, that I wanted my own team down the road. So right now I'm still single because I'm still, learning the ropes. I want to be a strong leader, so I want to make sure that I lead my team well. And once I feel confident in myself, then I will form my team.
Nice.
So it really just depends. Like if you're debating between single versus team, then it all depends on your history. So if you have that entrepreneurial spirit, you're going to be fine as a single agent. You're going to have that drive, you're going to have that discipline, etc. If you need a little guidance to transition from corporate world to real estate, then you probably need to join a team. The beautiful thing about that is that once you're on a team, you don't necessarily have to stay on it. You can learn the ropes, have a mentor, get some deals under your belt, whatever that looks like, and then go off on your own.
Right. I think that's you made a lot of good, strong points in there. And joining a team, most people think that it's a hindrance on their career moving forward, that after, I think what people do is they get stuck on the commission.
Yes.
They get stuck on the commission. They don't see the value that a team provides.
That's right.
A team like our structure is that we have a lead generation system. Mm-hmm. We do hand out leads and assign leads to people. And if you do the things that you have to do when you're not willing to, or not wanting to do them, and work those leads and have strong conversations, those leads work out for you. Well, there's a value to that, because procuring the lead is one of the hardest things to do in this business. Mm-hmm. Is finding the people that are raising their hand saying, I want to buy or sell.
Right. Yeah, split's hang a lot of people up, but then it goes back to that 10, was it 50% of 10 deals or 10 deals at 0%?
Right.
That's right. And that's you brought up a great point that you said your team structure. So while you interview a broker, you also need to interview multiple teams, because I guarantee you, if you talk to 5 different teams, they're going to have 5 different structures. Mm-hmm. So you got to find what fits you.
For sure. And that's once again one of our selling points, is that we try to provide, as a team leader, I knew that it would be a hard time keeping the attrition rate high with bringing in agents if we didn't provide any value. If we were just taking X amount of percent of every single deal they brought in, there's zero value there.
Right.
And there's teams that try to run like that. You do this for me, you do this for me, you do this for me, and all you guys go out and sell, and then I take my cut at the end. Well, that's just nothing but what a broker does. Right. However, I want to provide value, and our whole thing is that we try to provide as much as possible, and always, here's my thing. I always tell people that if I help everybody on my team achieve their goals, I'll get mine.
That's right.
And I stopped doing things for money a few years ago, and I know that sounds woo-woo, or that sounds kind of cliche-ish or whatever, but it's true. When I came to Keller Williams after the first year, I stopped doing things for money. I stopped looking at the bank accounts. I stopped looking at every check. I freshened up my commission breath, and just got rid of it.
Yeah.
And started realizing that if I help Marshall make 6 figures, what does my life look like? Now, if I can take 3 Marshalls and make them all make 6 figures, what's that look like? Right. And so that was our biggest thing, was the value proposition of what I offer as a team, which has helped us in recruiting.
Absolutely.
And bringing people in.
Yep.
And so if you outgrow us in 1 or 2 years and the value is not there anymore, or your goals surpass mine, we wish you well.
That's right.
Yep. Hopefully you're in my downline. So what do you have to add to that?
I completely agree with the whole team thing. Like, I obviously started solo, came from, like I said, military and then corporate environment, and you're dead on. Like, my whole adult life has functioned teams. So starting from the lowest man all the way to leading teams, and it's a very drastic difference from jumping to that hey, go find people that you don't know in a new city that you don't know, and create business. It is significantly harder than it sounds.
Yeah.
Unless that sounds pretty hard.
In the military, I got so proficient in things, I could wing just about anything. Mm-hmm. Jump into new places, new countries, and like, oh, we have to do this. Like, well, we don't have anything or have everything to succeed in that. They're like, okay, do it. Well, okay, I made it work. And so I just naturally was able to wing things. 100% does not work in real estate. Just in case you're wondering, it does not work. You will fall on your face so many times like I did. Luckily, I had great people around me to help kind of scoop me back up, like, no, keep going. You're going to fall a few more times, but keep going.
That's right.
But I took a while to join teams, although I was lucky to have a lot of opportunities and people interested. I was wanting to find out culture and people and how they functioned, both for themselves and for their teammates and those below them. And it took a while to really get a good grasp on that. So then you can be a little bit more picky, although it's supposed to be the team wanting, the right people. You definitely have to have your own interests in mind and find out who you would best align with. And sometimes you're going to be right, sometimes you're going to be wrong, and sometimes things just don't work out. But there's more opportunities. Don't think that one thing is the only option.
That's right.
So,
Okay. Perfect.
My biggest push to the team, or the biggest draw to the team, was having a shadow, being able to shadow an agent. So you could stick somebody in a restaurant and tell them, okay, you're hired, customer comes in, sell them a burger and run the register. So now you got to learn to run the register. You got to know what to tell the customer to get the information out of them. You got to run over there, learn how to make the burger. And there's a lot of steps in the process. It's simple. It's just not easy. And then with the real estate, having a mentor, someone I could shadow, I'd sat down in front of the computer, had my license, and it's like, well, what do I do now?
Right.
I'm going to build my Facebook up. What do I do now? I'm going to, print some stuff out and not go door knock and not call anyone today. And so when I joined the team,
You had more structure and
I got busier. I had someone I could see how he walked, how he talked, how he responded to people, and just, the structure of the day. And from there, I was able to find my place.
Oh, somewhere there was a compliment. I don't know where it was, but it was in there somewhere. Yeah.
Dave.
And then as a solo agent, that goes back to the culture. So I was very blessed that I had a mentor take me under her wing, and she happened to be the assistant to Joe Williams of Keller Williams.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Cynthia Reed. And I learned so much from her in my first year. She has a wealth of knowledge. And so if you don't deter from being a single agent, as long as you're in the right culture, you're going to have that family atmosphere, and they're going to help you along the way.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
And so we brought up a lot of positives about teams and single agents. They both have their positives. There's the negatives, positives, whichever. Let's touch on some of those negatives real quick.
Sure.
Negatives, bring it up.
Accountability.
Uh-oh. What does that look like?
Are you really making your calls?
Why are you still in
Yeah, why did your voice change?
So yeah, negatives. Okay, I guess I can see that from an agent. As a team leader, I don't see a lot of negatives other than sometimes it's like running an adult daycare. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, herding cats.
Herding cats, adult
Everybody
daycare, however you want to do it. And
their own way,
it's not meant to be offensive at all. It's more meant to be, it's trying to get 4 or 5 decision-making adults on the same page.
Right.
Every day is harder to do. And so a lot of times people shrug off things. I know that we have a new teammate on our team that may not like to make phone calls, may not like to touch out to the leads that they're getting. They would probably rather maybe text message or email. To me, that's the easy button. I think text messaging and email definitely have its place. However, phone calls, I believe, are where it's at. You're searching for that definitive answer. Are you interested? Yes or no? Should I keep on chasing down this lead or not? However, when we all come into this business and everybody hops on a team, it's hard to get all those people on the same page, and it takes them quite some time to hop on. So anyway, I digress back to the negatives of this. Really, that's all I can see. So I more want the agent's perspective.
To add to your point, is not hopping onto a job. We're all starting our own businesses under your business, which is under the Market Center.
That's what I was gonna
Which
say.
I've started a business under Keller Williams.
Yeah, that can add a different level of difficulty, through the whole process. So there's definitely got to be a structure there with the accountability, so everybody stays on the same page.
Right.
you have to understand it first.
Yeah.
It's easy to say when you've been in and you actually see the different teams, see the different structures, understand the difference on how things function. But when you're new, you're just like, hey, lead gen, okay, but how? What am I naturally going to gravitate towards? What's going to be not the easiest, but okay, the phone's great, but if you're not paying for like Mojo or Falcon or whatever the 50 million dialers. Like you need to do something, but what are you gonna gravitate towards? And the phone.
That's a great point, and we will talk on that one here in a second. We're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up, and then join us back tomorrow for episode 2, where we're going to continue down this I have my real estate license, now what? Thanks for joining us on Real Estate on the Rocks.
Bye, y'all.
Later.
Bye-bye.